Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Toddson and welcome back to the Wisdom of Odin. Just having a little update video for you and a discussion here. So I'm in Copenhagen at the moment recording a different video, and it just so happened at the museum they were having an exhibit on Völva and Seidr magic, and had this like modern exhibit about it, and I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to share with you the footage I was able to capture and just a general discussion about Nordic witchcraft, how it's represented in media, and the evolution of media when it comes to Viking Age stuff. The way they had it, like you walked in and then you had these little headphones and it kind of played as you went throughout, and they just had these interactive rooms. And it was definitely more of like a Nordic Scandinavian mushroom trip than like a museum exhibit. I mean, it was really modern, really cool. And I think what this is kind of leading into is an evolution of Viking Age media. Because looking back when I first got into Norse paganism, we had the Vikings TV show, you had Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it was bordering on the cringe at time, and I think that's what kind of turned people off, but also got people interested, is Vikings kind of blew up there for a bit. And now I think we're going through this era of maturing, which is much needed. I think the Northmen, to me, was kind of the significance of that, is we saw a maturing of Viking Age media, it getting more into the source material, more into the language, more into the depth. And then we're also seeing a maturing of the music with bands like Heilung, with bands like Wardruna, of course. Like you can see the evolution of Wardruna for a long time. There's a lot of musicians like Jaldir making music. Really a renaissance still going on, particularly when it comes to the music of the Viking Age and how it's being restored now into this modern era. I was also able to talk to a few of the people that worked here. And one of the things they kept talking about is we're not in the Viking Age anymore. We're not Vikings. You can't do this 100% historically accurate. And they kept using the word inspired. And so I think what we saw at first was a revival in historical interest of this. But now I think it is maturing into an interest of inspiration. Like, you know, we can't be 100% the past, but let's be inspired by the past and influence us now and evolve in belief and culture and identity. And I think what this exhibit represents is that change, is that moving into a new era. So yeah, very neon, very much, you know, psychedelic mushroom trip. But what it was playing in the audio, which I wasn't able to capture, at least not very well if I did, is it was playing the prophecy of Ragnarok, because the entire Völuspa is just the prophecy of the witch, the seeress, the Völva, the Völva. And so as you go through, it was playing, like the coolest room definitely was like the Battle of Ragnarok room. It was like this big Yggdrasil. They had all these threads of fate, and it was just showing all this cool animation of the end times, but also what comes after. So yeah, just really cool. Nothing as far as like information. I mean, you can go in and then they have the artifacts, like this few surviving artifacts of the Völva and what they believed and what they practiced. What I was able to gather from talking to people is the Völva, of course, had their idea of trance and meditation, their connection to magic, the connection to the natural world, but also were a little bit of the medicine women as well, because they have found pouches of medicine of plants. And so they were very in tune with the plants, the herbalism. And so they would have been a mixture of like a medicine woman and then more of like the traditional shaman role, but not quite either. And of course, these are all just modern interpretations. We don't have a book of exactly what a Völva did. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that, both in the mix of, it's interesting to see the interest in Völva come up. It's definitely wrapped up into, you know, feminist interests as we rediscover that the patriarchal look into history as it was being researched in the 1800s and the 1900s definitely was assuming a lot of male roles in society. And so they were focusing on the warriors. Yeah, I think the last thing I'll say on the media side of things is, you know, things like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice are another good example of like this evolution of Viking Age media. There's definitely, like, even walking into this room, like especially with the big white head of the Völva that you're going in, it was just like, it definitely reminded me of like this cyberpunk thing. Like we are moving forward into the future of belief and of understanding of the ancient times. And so it was much more neon, and I was okay with it, you know? So this kind of like cyberpunk Völva Seidr stuff, I was into it. I'm kind of into it. So let me know your thoughts of the footage I've been able to show you down below. Really interesting. But the last thing I'll say here, and I'm going to have my full interview with the director and the writer here very soon. But I am working on a project, working on promoting, but also consulting on a project named Lineage. I've talked about on this channel before, and it's a modern movie, so it's going to take place in the kind of modern times, about Völva and Seidr magic. And I've been able to read the script, I've been able to help with the script, and it's going to be really cool, and I'm looking forward to it. And this is, again, an evolution of Viking media, because it is going to have to be crowdfunded, because that's the way media works now, is you don't necessarily get the big producer behind you, you get the crowdfunding for it, and then you sell it to, you know, Netflix or Hulu or whoever. But yeah, I'm really excited. I've been working with these people for a while. They're super nice. Like I've worked with a few Hollywoody type people before, and these people are very authentic. And I hope you can trust me on that, because trust me when I say I feel they're very authentic and they really want to create a really good project. So that project's going to need your help. I'll play a little clip here for you at the very end, and then that full interview will be out on the newly reforged Northern Traditions podcast. So I hope you check it out whenever that comes out here soon. So be sure to resubscribe to the Northern Traditions podcast. Check out here for when that releases. But yeah, here's some short clips. Hope you enjoyed this little look into the Copenhagen Danish National Museum and the exhibit on Völva and Seidr magic. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video here at the Wisdom of Odin.
Now is the time to turn our focus towards the deep and powerful female wisdom of Norse mythology.
I'm really excited to tell a historically accurate, authentic story that not only honors the past, but inspires reconnection to the magic and power of nature in the present.
It's not only a mystery and a thriller, but it's about these two sisters and dealing with their family history that doesn't quite make sense to them.
We want to truly honor Norse mythology, but in the modern day.
For me, the most intriguing aspect of this film is the much untold feminine side of Norse mythology.
We want to make sure that we're using this history to authentically give nods to ceremonies and rituals in Seidr.
Please join our community of supporters and join us on our journey to bring Lineage from script to screen.